A very interesting story that we find in Parshat Chukat. After Aaron HaKohen dies and Klal Yisrael leave Hor HaHar, the Torah tells us, and the spirit of the people grew short on the way. The people spoke against Hashem and Moshe. Why did you bring us up from Egypt to die in the wilderness? For there is no food and no water, and our souls disgusted with the insubstantial food. V'nafshenu katsa belechem haklokel. So God sent the fiery serpents against the people, and they bit the people. A large multitude of Israel died. The people came to Moshe and said, "We have sinned, for we have spoken against Hashem and against you. Pray to Hashem that he remove from us the serpent." Moshe prayed for the people. Hashem said to Moshe, "Make yourself a fiery serpent and place it on a pole. See that anyone who was bitten will look at it and live." Moshe made a serpent of copper, a nachash nechoshet, and placed it on the pole. So it was that if the serpent bit a man, he would stare at the copper serpent and live. And as the Gemara notes in source number 3, that is, does the power of a serpent on a pole have the ability to be maimed or mechayet, to kill or to bring to life? No. But rather by looking up, they're mishtabim et libam, they subject the heart to our Father in heaven and therefore are saved. So there's obviously a tremendous amount that one can learn from this particular story. I'd like to try to see if we can learn 3 basic lessons, as if the serpent that's on the pole is screaming out at us, that are very relevant for our lives and our interaction every single day with others as well as with the HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We know that this symbol of a serpent on the pole has become the universal symbol for the medical field. Right? We see it as the insignia on medical buildings, on pharmacies, etc. And when we see this insignia, it has to remind us of this story. They use it because the serpent on the pole was a symbol of life. But obviously, it's not that the serpent is a symbol of life. It's what the serpent comes to represent that's a symbol of life. It's what the serpent is screaming at us that we need to internalize. And that's the overall question today. What is this symbol all about? And obviously, in order to answer that question, we need to first understand what is it that the people sinned. All they said is, "Nafshenu katsa b'lechem al-klokal." We've had it with the man. Is that such a terrible sin? And if it is such a terrible sin, what is the connection between the sin and the punishment of the nechashim asrafim, these fiery serpents coming out to destroy them? What's the whole imagery of the serpent on the pole? What is this all about? So those are our overall questions, Emir Hashem, for today. Before looking at the 3 major approaches that I'd like to take a look at today, I'd just like to make mention, I think, of a very powerful insight that Rav Pam notes, and this is source number 4. He says, Hashem was angry and sent the fiery serpents to punish them. As Rashi explains, when the primeval serpent caused Adam and Chava to sin, it was cursed that anything it eats would have the bland taste of sand. Thus it was fitting that Hashem sent these snakes to punish the ungratefulness of the Jews who complained about the wonderful manna which tasted like countless food. So one approach, which is the approach that Rashi brings, that Chazal note, of why specifically the serpent, because whatever the serpent tastes like sand, it tastes like dust. And these serpents came to punish Klal Yisrael, who had the special schus, the special merit, that whenever they ate the man, it could taste like whatever they wanted to. So here the Jews are being ungrateful. They're calling the man the lechem haklokel, and therefore the serpents are the symbol of reminding the Jews of how ungrateful they are. And on this, Rav Pam develops how careful we have to be about what he calls bizui ochlim, the denigration of food. How careful we have to be not to waste food. And he speaks about, as one example, like in simchas, of how much food is wasted. If a person knows, and this is obviously an extension where Rav Pam is saying that they're going to go to a chasna. They know they have an early appointment the next morning and they can't stay late. And they know for sure they're not going to eat the meal. So tell the Balei Simcha, you know what, we'd love to join you, but please don't set up a place for me. It saves Pal Tashchit, aside from saving, the Bal Simcha money. And we know that there are many people that take the food from the Simchas and give it to the poor and those who need it. And this has to be a sensitivity, that we have to treat food with a tremendous amount of respect. Like what Rav Pam speaks about when we throw candy at a chassan or a bar mitzvah boy, to make sure that it's food that if it's stepped on or in any way, thrown around, that still can be edible. This is a sensitivity that we need to have to food, which is one very important lesson that is derived from our section. And that's something, just an overall insight that we should keep in mind. If we begin, though, with the 3